Distribution of the first installment of orphan sponsorship. Calls for clarification to be shed on the asylum. Hello, welcome to our newsroom for having the news in details. Under the high patronage of His Excellency the Ministry of Muslim Affairs, Culture and Waqf, the Diwan al-Zakat Foundation organized this morning a ceremony dedicated to the distribution of the first installment of sponsorship to the orphanage known as Kafala in 2020. The event was attended by the Ministry of Budget, Mr. Abdulkarim Ad-Sher, the Ministry of Labor, Mr. Osman Ibrahim Roble, as well as the Ministry of Communication, Mr. Radon Abdullahi Bahadon, and the Director General of the Diwan al-Zakat, Mr. Suleiman Hussein Musa. In addition, two senior executive businessmen, representatives of the sponsors, about 1,159 orphans from different districts of the capital have benefited from this solidarity program, which is the first phase of the sponsorship for the orphanage of the year 2020. Since 2007, the Diwan al-Zakat Foundation has been implemented the Kafala Orphan Sponsorship Program, which aims to improve the living condition of the orphan segment. It should be also noted that the Diwan al-Zakat Foundation is in charge of collecting, organizing, and distributing the zakat's income, but also of raising awareness among the population on the importance of zakat, which is one of the 5 pillars of the Islam. The Director General of the Al-Zakat Foundation, Mr. Suleiman Hussein Musa, was keen to point out the foundation is undergoing a clear evolution of its activities from year to year. Let's listen to him.
من مهامه الأساسية يقوم الديوان الزكاة.
Among its basic tasks, the Diwan al-Zakat always collects the guarantee from the unbelievers, distributes it to the sponsored, draws a smile on the lips of orphans, and brings happiness and joy to them. Regardless of the circumstances and difficulties, I pray to God to accept the donations of the unbelievers and to be from whom the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said about them, and I quote, "I and the person who looks after an orphan and provides for him will be in paradise like this," putting his index and middle fingers together. Or His Excellency, the Minister, said individuals and institutions from the platform to join the list of unbelievers whom we pray to God to accept and to be with the Messenger of God. May God bless him and grant him peace in heaven. In conclusion, I reiterate my thanks and appreciation to His Excellency the Minister of Islamic Affairs and Culture and the honorable attendance, and I ask God the Almighty to make this in the balance of your good deeds.
The Ministry of Muslim Affairs, Culture and Waqf Property highlighted the leading role that the Diwan al-Zakat Foundation plays in the fight against poverty. Here is what he said.
Distribution of the first batch of orphan sponsorship for the year 2020 of the capital of Djibouti. This will be followed by the distribution of sponsorship in the interior regions of the country. Praise be to God the Almighty. The Orphan Sponsorship Program has become one of the most successful programs sponsored by the Ministry, represented by the Diwan al-Zakat. And thanks to external support and the various institutions sponsoring the Orphan Sponsorship Program, the Diwan al-Zakat has been able to organize all the collection of sponsorship and prepare the statistical record in periodic and transparent administrative manner for the benefit of orphans and provide them with the necessary care. Sponsoring an orphan contributes to building a cohesive society in which the spirit of love, affection, and charity prevails for orphans in a noble humanitarian act. In conclusion, I can only fail to express my sincerest thanks and gratitude to all the thankful institutions and active and supportive bodies of the Orphan Sponsorship Program. I also extend my thanks and appreciation to all the families who attended the ceremony, hoping that this guarantee will contribute to drawing joy on the faces of all the orphans.
On Monday, September 7, 2020, the RPP party headquarters hosted a meeting between the ambassador of the People's Republic of China and the RPP Party Executive Committee headed by Mrs. Mona Usman Aden, National Secretary for Economy. In this meeting, the ambassador handed over a donation of medical equipment as part of the fight against the COVID-19. The equipment consists of suits and masks. The Chinese PCC party and the party have agreed that the quantity and quality and specification of the equipment are in accordance with current Chinese standards and experience applicable in Djibouti. During this meeting, both parties signed a deed of delivery and receipt of the equipment donation. Both parties agreed to distribute the masks to the annex and university students. The session ended with a family photo session. Mrs. Muna Usman Adan indicated that Djibouti will soon defeat the COVID-19 epidemic in a definitive way. Let's listen to what she said.
Les fournitures arrivent dans le cadre des efforts visant à aider les pays à lutter contre la pandémie du Covid-19.
This donation includes surgical masks and gowns, and China and Djibouti continue to demonstrate once again their continued solidarity in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, you know how particularly happy we feel to see encouraging signs of the evolution of the spread of the coronavirus in Djibouti, but also around the world, and we are fully aware that the result is achieved after the efforts of the government of Djibouti under the leadership of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, and the efforts of the entire population of Djibouti, especially the activities of the RPP party. And I am firmly convinced after the combined efforts of the various actors that our country, like China, will soon defeat the COVID-19 epidemic in a definitive way. I would like to recall that the two countries and the two sides have created a strong cooperation over the years, and that this cooperation will be further strengthened. According to others, our party's commitment to the Chinese Communist Party represents more than material support. It is a particular demonstration of the goodwill that exists between the two parties and also between the two countries. Rest assured, Mr. Ambassador, that these donations will be distributed to the struggling institutions that are fighting the pandemic day and night. The institutions that are in charge of managing the health crisis, but also everything, all institutions, especially universities, for the protection and respect of barrier gestures that are the best means to fight the COVID-19 epidemic. Be assured that the destination of these materials will be made and you will be informed.
The mayor of the city, Djibouti City, Mrs. Awal Usman, accompanied by the mayor of the city of Garowe in Somalia, visited this morning the Arta region of Somalia. This visit falls within the framework of strengthening the fraternal and friendly relationship between the two countries and the two peoples. They were warmly welcomed by the president of the Arta region, Omar Abu Gudade. The Arta region hosted the Somali Peace Conference 20 years ago. The mayor of the city of Garowe wished to visit the place where the Peace Process Conference took place. This day symbolized the 20th anniversary of the celebration of this conference, which was initiated by the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, to restore peace, stability, and balance to our neighborhood, brothers and friends that is Somalia. It is customary to commemorate this historic date of 2000. Now, as in other regions of the country, the basic and medium students of the Unity region, Dekhil, went back to school on Sunday 6 September 2020. Some 8,300 learners resumed the course today with fervor and joy. It should be pointed out that the start of the school year 2020-2021 is a new school year because the MEDFOP has recommended the implementation of exceptional sanitary protocols that will be observed in all the establishments of the country. In addition, exceptional barrier measures have been put in place so that pupils can work in safety. On this occasion, a delegation composed of the acting prefect Yusuf Ali, the president of the regional council of Dekhil Abdurrahman Yunis, the head of the regional education service Warsama Omar, military and civil authorities carried out a supervision tour to ensure the smooth running of the resumption of classes and the measures taken to fight against the spread of COVID-19. It was therefore an opportunity for school directors and head of schools to report to the delegation on this exceptional start to the new school, focusing on particular on the number of pupils and teachers and the barrier measures taken. Thus, about 5,629 students in basic education and 2,639 pupils of means returned to their respective schools with joy. As in the capital and the regions, the start of the 2020-2021 basic education school year took place as planned on 6 September in all schools in Tajawa region. A total of 7,000 pupils went back to school with joy and pride. On this occasion, a large delegation composed of the prefect of the region, Hassan Dabali Ahmed, the president of the regional school council, Omar Hussein Omar, the inspector, Mohammed Aden Geli, head of department, and pedagogical advisors visited several schools in the region to see firsthand the good progress of this new school year. As the school year this year is placed under the sign of health security, school heads are required to apply the health protocols issued by the MENFOP, such as the wearing of masks by all adults, washing hands at least 4 times during the day, to respect distance in school structures. Now in Obok, 6 September 2020, public schools in Obok region reopened their doors as in the rest of the country. In accordance with a circular issued by the Ministry of Education and Vocational Training, thus 1,569 primary school students, 660 secondary school, and 580 private school students were invited to return to school. On the basis of those students attended school in the chief town, and while waiting for data from rural schools, the attendance rate will be between 60 and 80%. This percentage remains in line with the reality of each new school year. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the start of the 2020-2021 school year was impatiently awaited by MENFOP decision makers and technicians, regional and national authorities, but also by parents with a number of questions. Together with the prefect of the Obok region, the president of the regional council of Obok, and the management team, and they took a tour of schools of Obok. Obok 2, Rabor, Obok Middle School, Al-Rahma School, and Markazi, to supervise the start of the new school year, the reception and working condition of the teams and pupils, but above all the barrier measures taken by the various public and private establishments. Like the basic and medium school throughout the country, the start of the this year's school year took place on Sunday, 6th September in Al Sibih. Now at 7:30 a.m., the doors of the basic school and the CM were opened. The headmasters and the principal began the call for former students who had gained their admission level. Then they proceeded to welcome the new enrollments for the basic school, and the pupils admitted that the 6th class for the CEM of Al Sabih. At 8 o'clock in the morning, the prefect of the region, Musa Adam Migani, the president of the regional council, Omar Ahmed Ais, deputy Abdi Khaire, and the technical advisor of the Ministry of National Education, Mr. Rashid Jama, led by the inspector of the region, Ahmed Hamidou Ibrahim, made successive visits to supervise the start of the school year at the primary school of Al Sabih and the middle school of the city. In each of the schools visited, the distinguished visitors were well received by those in charge of the premises. They found all the provisions or gesture of the barrier against COVID-19 applied to the letter. At the entrance, the school 1 and the CEM, a place for washing and disinfection hands, was set up. Pupil numbers have increased compared to the previous year. All the basic school in the region received some 5,000 students, as in the CM of Al Sabih. The principal welcomed the official of the region and the MENFOP inspectors. The student of the 6th from were called first, followed by the student of the others levels. Now, as in the other regions, classes have resumed in all schools in the region. More than 4,500 pupils supervised by their parents were welcomed by the teachers, who were all present for the first start of the new school year after the COVID-19 period in Arta. The schools are therefore open to the whole region prefecture between the Merjouk, Amar Jaga, and the chief town of Arta and Wea. During the COVID-19 pandemic, arrangements were made to ensure that lessons were given, particularly on the radio waves of the RTD. Elaborated booklets were distributed, and finally, before the resumption of the lesson given for some of them to bring them up the standards. The prefect of the Arta region, Mr. Mohammed Sheikhu Hassan, undertaking a tour of the schools of the Arta chief town and its surroundings to observe the good progress of the resumption of class. Let's listen to him.
À féliciter pour la bonne organisation
I would like to congratulate for the good organization and also Minister of National Education who has organized well so that the beginning of the school year took place in good conditions. I also salute the parents of the students who spared no effort so that the children could resume classes normally. Above all, I would like to thank and congratulate the teachers and the entire teaching staff who are all present in each of the schools in the region. You said 3,192 were present for elementary school and 1,400 for the middle schools. So classes have resumed for everyone. The students were all in their classes. The teachers are all in their classes. So for us, for the region of Arta, which extends from the Morjok to Laita, I would like to congratulate and thank all the people in charge who have spared no effort to wash their hands in all establishments so that the COVID epidemic stops spreading in the establishments.
The Association of Charity Club, chaired by Mrs. Angham Hassan Mohammed, organized yesterday evening at the headquarters of the association a distribution of school kits to the orphan students in the neighborhoods of Djibouti City. These school kits includes complete school supplies, school uniform, school bags, and water bottles. This gesture consists of supporting the most modest families for whom it is often impossible to buy new supplies for their children. More than 300 pupils were able to receive these school kits by the hands of the leaders of the Charity Club Association. The leaders of the Charity Association were still took turns taking the microphone to address a message of thanks to the generous donors. They indicated that this gesture will give a smile to these orphan children who will start this new school year. The Tajura now, in Tajura, the Customs Mobile Brigade team chaired by Jilani Sheikh seized a large quantity of the cat from 1,100 kilogram on the road between Tajura Balho to Boli with the collaboration of military from the Tajura region. The General Director of Customs, Mr. Gulid Ahmed Yusuf, thanked the military of Tajura region commanded by Colonel Ali Shahim and the customs agent of Tajura. Moving on to international news now, the Tunisian president condemned the terrorism attack in the seaside resort of Sousse. More details in this video.
Sunday morning at a checkpoint, 3 suspected Islamist militians hit 2 National Guard officers with their vehicle before stabbing them. One of the 2 died and the other was seriously injured during the ensuing pursuit in the tourist area of El Katouni. Tunisian forces shot and killed the 3 assailants. Tunisian President Kais Saied visited the scene. According to the Interior Ministry, the assailants took over in a school and were killed in exchange of fire. The president promised the light would be shed on whether this was an isolated attack or whether an organization was behind the 3 men. The last attack on security forces in Tunisia was on March 6. A police officer was killed and 5 others wounded, along with a civilian, in a double suicide bombing outside the U.S. Embassy.
This is it for this edition of 9 p.m. Thank you for watching us and have a wonderful evening.